Hey guys, this is Fan Confessions, the channel of two friends, two fans, and the K-Wave. Hi, I'm Lisa.
I'm Stephanie.
And welcome to the place where we share our love of all things K-pop, K-drama, and our personal experiences as fans.
So we're back, finally, with another episode of Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha. It only took us forever. It feels like forever.
It feels like forever. We appreciate everybody who was patient with us while we sorted out the whole copyright claim limbo that episode 2 was in. So if you haven't,
clear, folks, we're clear. Yay! Well,
yes,
we knew we were clear. There shouldn't have been no infringement in the first place. But I mean, it's just glad to hold on for the account of time, go through the process, and see that mark taken off, and know that no worries here. So.
Yeah, so if you missed episode 2 where you got the notification and it was like, oh, video gone, we welcome you to go and check it out because we like our continuity in the series here.
Yeah, and you'll be able to find that link in both the description for this video, and then I will also at the end tag it as well in case you want to go back for some reason after the fact. But either way, it'll be an easy enough link, or you could just visit our channel and check out some of our other videos as well.
Exactly.
We're also doing another series. We kind of started at the same time, a week or so later. So we have Lovers of the Red Sky. So we're still continuing that too. No worries. That's gonna come up eventually as well. But we just figured we'd return back to this one since it was our first one we had picked.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go.
So what were we feeling going into episode 3? Do we remember?
Well, I was feeling pretty good going into episode 3. I think episode 1 and 2 left us in a good spot, and we were like kind of excited to see what's happening next with our friends in our little seaside town.
I felt like, we left on that epic K-drama moment of her being homeless into his arms, the epic scene that it was, which it was just like so that we had to be stuck on that part for so long. And I will say, so my husband who's been watching with me has been very pained that we had to hold off so long to watch an episode because I wanted to watch it close to when we were talking about it. So we had to wait until this week. So
exactly.
I'm very happy to be able to dig in again. The one thing I was thinking though, in comparison, because we're watching this other drama that's so filled with plot and like other stuff, that I was like, is this one gonna keep our interest for a whole thing? Like, it's a very light concept so far, nothing too dramatic has happened. Yeah, so it's like, hopefully there's enough twists and turns in the story that'll keep us happy the whole time.
Yeah, and episode 3 sort of like starts off as, I remember episode 2 was a bit of like a somber start, had a little bit of a gloominess to it, or a little sad bit, but like episode 3 comes off with like feeling all warm and kind of like, it intros with like a bit lighter, a bit more romantic feeling.
Yeah, I thought that I had noted that as well, because I was wanting to see if we were going to still get that kind of narration in the beginning every time. And this one was not as like a little, like the other one was like kind of a whole little monologue thing, and it was like almost like it was a lot deeper. This one was just like the sounds of the town. It was like,
I know exactly.
I don't know. I like the feeling. I mean, obviously it just gives you that immediate like you're in the hometown again, and it's like, welcome back.
Welcome back to the seaside town where our dentist is and our handyman are having their moments.
So then we made it to episode 3, and yeah, like we said, the little intro to the neighborhood all over again.
Yeah.
And I think we started off in Heijin's house, right? She's like trying to buy a dress or something.
So she's preparing for a college classmate's wedding, and she's trying to find the right outfit. And of course, she's fallen into that lovely little trap that all of us pandemic people have gone into, online shopping.
to the max. I mean, I don't know how many places she ordered from. It was kind of because I was like, also, how many days was this over? Like, I couldn't, I couldn't
It felt,
process what was happening.
yeah, I can imagine all those packages coming in one day, but plus,
Yeah.
so Dushik happens to be the package delivery guy today because, you know,
No.
he's Mr. Helpful. So not only does she get all these wonderful little packages that we all love to receive, but she's getting a lot of visits from our man here.
It had to happen. He does everything. So it didn't shock me at all that he was there.
I love how shy she was with him when she first opened the door, because she's like flashed back to him catching her in his arms, and she's just like,
of course, we know that it's like stage one of the feels being caught. Anytime there's a slow-mo moment, looking in each other's eyes.
Yeah, we're gonna get the warm fuzzies, that's for sure.
So this is definitely following along the typical K-drama track so far. But I mean, there's like little moments that are refreshing. Like, I do think the level of comedy is funny. So yeah, the amount of packages she gets and stuff. I thought her taste in outfits is quite interesting, I found. Right?
She's very feminine. She's going for like a few ruffles here and there. She's got a little eclectic thing going on. She's trying to find just the right feel, the right look.
Like super dressy or not dressy enough. Or I mean, I guess that's the point. They're trying to do the scenario. Yeah. But her outfit she landed on, I was like, oh, that's not what I would have picked, but okay. She looks good.
Exactly.
Like, she's gorgeous. So
she looks good. She looks good. And in Sunday trip to Seoul, word gets around and she gets a few extra passengers in the car ride to town, whether she likes to or not.
Because when he shows up, it's like there was this sparkle noise.
I know, I love that.
Always annoyance when he appears, and I appreciated that. So, because you just know it's coming, right?
Sparkly light.
We kind of overdo it a little bit, and I love it. Like, I'm all into that. I think that's hilarious.
I think that's the great part of the humor of the show so far, is like those small little, like, they over dramatize certain moments, because, you know, those are like the key moments right there. Like they're playing up that stereotypical drama moment, and they're like, they know it's a little cheesy to do it, but they're kind of doing it ironically, and it works.
Yes, exactly. I would say I agree 100%. And then I was so happy to see the grandmas, because they were like the perfect little bit of comedic relief that we always need.
I love the grandmas. The Ajimas are the best in this show. They're so cute.
And they're like different levels of Ajima too. Like, they all have their little bit of sass or differences to them that just make them kind of like perfect for the scene and good dynamic. So,
and it's such a great way to sort of like, not only like, sure, it's like starts off with like, oh no, she's inconvenienced by all these extra people in the car to Seoul, but it's like the perfect like vehicle, not automobile, but vehicle plot wise, to sort of introduce Heijin a little bit more to the town folk. Like, so they're getting a little to know her a bit more, get past that cool exterior that she has with them. So they learn that like her mother passed away when she was young, and there's that lovely little sympathy vote. But like, I find it funny that she brushed it off as like not a big deal. It happened with when I was young and I don't remember much, which was obviously untrue.
Right. Yeah, it's like, it is interesting how she does kind of, I don't know. There's points where we hear a lot more about it, and then there's points where she really is closed off about it at the same time. But I mean, I guess it's to the strangers, I suppose, is more of the closed off part. But yeah, she's interesting. But
she's not an easy wall to climb, that's for sure. She's got her guard up.
Purposely does that, it feels like. But yeah, I think I've always said that too. I find it intriguing because usually it's the guy we're trying to figure out, and this time it's the girl that's far more complicated and cold and all that, right?
Yeah, but I think what really was a highlight for me in this episode too is that we learn like Dushik has some layers to him as well. Because in after she drops everybody off and we get into this scene where Dushik's going in front of an office building, but it's like several, you can see like the plaque of the different companies within the building. It's all doctors. And it's like there's a psychologist, there's like a urologist, there's a dentist, and it's sort of like, who is Dushik going to be seeing? And I have some thoughts on scenes later on the episode make me like have a little theory about that, and maybe it's like the psychiatrist that he's going to see.
Okay, so I read in our notes that you were going to say this, and I was like, what drama have I been watching? Because I did not pick up on this at all or notice. Maybe my eyes are just really bad. You see, I have glasses on. I don't know. I did not pick up on the doctors on the wall, which so Lisa is super perceptive. Apparently, I am not. Each other, I can learn more and go deeper than I'm pretty. I guess I'm surface level more so. But
I read those subtitles.
Oops, as I delete all my notes in front of me right now. Everything's making a noise. Anyway, but yes, I totally didn't notice that. So good on her for noticing it. Like I knew I was trying to figure out why he was there, and no one ever said anything, and he never really talked about it. I mean, I thought it was a little bit silly, the phone planted in the car, I don't know. I was just like,
yeah, he dropped his phone, like has no way of communicating.
Her friends are gonna figure out something's going on somehow. Like I just knew it was gonna line up one way or another.
Yeah, so mysterious doctor visit for Dushik. And like I guess like I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit because I just think this is something that's gonna be key later on in the show. Is later on in the episode, he wakes up from like either a night terror, like there seems to be something wrong. He wakes up from fitful sleep, and he has to go immediately to medication. So I'm wondering if maybe he's dealing with some anxiety issues or disorder, which is like a fairly common thing, but a prime reason to be seeing a psychologist.
Yeah, no, that like totally makes sense. I do remember the dream sequence, so I had assumed that something's going on with him. I guess I didn't associate the medication necessarily that far, but it could have been. I was like
I could be totally wrong on the why of the medication.
That's a fair. I could get it, especially with what you saw in the scene on the wall that I didn't see. So hey, I don't think that would be unheard of. I think of what's that drama? It's okay to not be okay, or not? It's okay. Well, there's that one.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay not to be okay.
There's another one too. It's the one with there's another one that has like Dio from EXO in it, and not Hyojin. Oh my god, forgetting the actress's name. I love her to bits. But there's another one that's about. There's a couple, I guess, about mental health,
which is nice to see. But yeah.
Yeah. So I've heard of.
I feel like this is sort of like one of those layers to this character that's going to explain why he is where he is and why he's not in some either like Steph theorized maybe a photographer.
Yeah, and he was like too much anxiety at whatever it is, and yeah.
So who knows? Maybe we'll find out later on in the series. I hope so, because I think this is just one of those nice layers that you add to a character that gives them like really great depth and makes them like a very memorable kind of character.
Well, and it'll definitely add more to the plot later on if it comes out, or like he has a scene of where we've seen him, I wouldn't say necessarily put together, but kind of in control and always in a positive light, right? And we haven't seen him have many negative attributes or reactions. Or, I mean, I guess he was kind of mean in a way, but like sarcastic and funny wise and not totally serious. So, but if we see him like turn a different direction, that might be something.
Or yeah, show some vulnerability and stuff like that. It'd be interesting to see later on how that develops.
Yeah. So I was glad that you brought that up, because see, there's probably someone like me that didn't even notice. That's what happens.
Exactly.
So then they end up meeting up again later. And then of course the friends notice, like, feel like.
But I love the wedding scene at the banquet when she's fending off all the nastiness from her like fellow dentists. Like, oh, they're making fun of her for being opening a practice in rural Korea, right? And it's like, oh, you must be like in the middle of nowhere.
I don't know. I was always like, oh, why do people still be friends with people like that then?
I know, it's like we sort of like don't have that kind of like culture of alumni here.
I guess not. Or to some degree, maybe there is, but
yeah, I don't think we like hold on to those like classmate ties from like college or university. Like they seem to like I'm not going to annual class reunions.
Right. You're right. It's like it's almost a lot of these shows turn it into like a competition between each other and who can be more successful afterwards, and
which is like realistic. I think there's a little bit of that factor when you meet up with old classmates and like who's doing better in life kind of thing.
Yeah. But yeah, they like to perpetuate on it and use it to cause drama in these shows a lot.
But it was fun to watch that scene because our Haejin, she did a really good job at defending herself and like flipping it back on them. So I was quite impressed with that. And I was just like, the girl.
Totally. And then what else did we have after that? So like they have their trip back finally, and he decides, or I guess she decides, okay, I'll give you a ride back. Like,
yeah,
it's a bit of a silly situation. They're like, no, I don't need it. Oh well, okay, if you want to.
Exactly. But it's funny because like I love the whole drive back and like the little bit of the college friends spotting him at the wedding venue. Those little like moments of him seeing her get a little like sad looking when she sees the bride and her mother leaving.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And like just those moments where they're driving back and he's fallen asleep and she puts his chair back so he could sleep more comfortably. And it's like, oh.
And he noticed that she did that too.
And he's like, okay, this girl has some sweet sides to her. I'm digging this. So it's like those little moments that are like, oh, this person's kind of nice. I kind of like this person.
Yeah. So those are kind of sweet. So I like where that direction was totally heading as well. And then what else is I gonna talk about? My brain is going black. We already talked about it. Never mind. But yes, the grandma. What happened to the grandma afterwards, right? So they all like went their separate ways, and the grandmas, I guess, came back on their own. Mm. Like, oh, she didn't even pick them up afterwards.
Well, because they were like, I think they mentioned before that they were going to visit their family and doing such and such. So obviously they were going to stay overnight and then come back on their own later. But it saved them the bus ride there.
Yeah. And so it really focuses around the main grandma lady who is like,
yeah,
Ushik's BFF.
BFF, Grandma Gamri. She is like, she's turning into like one of my favorite characters in the show so far.
Really
Sorry?
She's really endearing.
I like she's spunky and she doesn't take no nonsense, and like I'm growing very fond of Grandma Gamri because she's pretty cool. But she's also dealing with a lot of tooth pain.
Right.
And she
found that out in the car.
Right? Yeah. And so like I think we'd all recognize this behavior in our mothers and grandparents, not wanting to be a burden on their kids or grandkids. So they're just like, oh, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I can live with this. It's just old age. So But when Dushik drags her, literally picks her up and carries her on his back to visit Heijin.
He always does that.
Yeah, extreme family love there. You're going to the dentist whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So our dear grandma gets checked over and Heijin's like, well, you're actually doing pretty good for someone your age. It's just got 3 teeth that we need to fix, and we can do those with implants and save you a lot of trouble and not have to worry about dentures and blah, blah, blah. And of course, then we get to the money.
Yes, that always seems to be the issue with all her clients.
Right. How much is it going to cost? It's like, wow, expensive.
Well, always, right? I mean, that's why it's like we got to feel grateful for what we have and what we get covered where we are in other places.
Yay, insurance.
Yeah, right? And there's a lot of places. Well, teeth is one of those things that's difficult, right? Like, can definitely be a pretty penny and not always covered, and probably one of the last things covered in a lot of places.
Well, I know even Canada, we're very lucky to have our universal healthcare system, but dentists and dental procedures are not included in that universal healthcare. So we rely on our private insurance or payment plans with our dentist to be able to afford some of this major work, right? So
it's never easy. So not any shock either. Grandma doesn't necessarily live the glamorous life, so she doesn't seem to have enough money and isn't willing to spend, and so they kind of
but I think
right?
Yeah, but I think this is where I think we get a really interesting story plot, because you would expect Taejin to be trying cordial into it, or like try to like figure out some kind of payment thing to convince her, right? But Haejin's reaction was actually pretty harsh, don't you think? She was just like, well, if you don't want to take care of yourself, then you can leave.
Right.
So it's just like, wow.
Work with each other back and forth, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed pretty harsh when you first watch it and see it at face value. You think it's like, why is she? It seems like she's just like being a little hard on grandma.
I feel like
you
that's
think
what I've gotten used to. I didn't react as much because she's just always like this. I'm like, I don't expect much else.
Yeah, but I think later on, like, because we get some interaction with, and I think this becomes another great way of the story, sort of like building Haejin as a character. Like, you see face value, and you take those like scenes and her reaction, and you think she's kind of a jerk for doing that to grandma, right? Mm-hmm. But in a later conversation that she's having with Doshik, she says this great line, and it's like, good parents stay healthy for a long time. They don't get sick, stay sick, and try to save money for their children. And I think this sort of like gives us sort of like a view of her thinking and like her experience as a kid watching her mother be sick, and losing her mom at a young age, right? Because
I thought about it in the sense that it explains a lot more, because usually there's like in K-dramas, there's a lot of times there'll be a parent that is passed away or gone. Like, very common. It's like a very common trope, I guess, in building a character or a lead character. And then usually, though, you see that the outcome of it is a positive outcome. Like, that person has taken that struggle, and yes, it was hard, and they had sad moments, but they usually persevere, and they have positive traits because of what happened to them. And so for her to take it and come out almost more negatively out of it is interesting, because it kind of turns the whole trope on its head a little bit from what you're used to experiencing. Because you just,
yeah, exactly.
No, it's like, and it's more human. It makes sense. Like, it's not wrong by any means, but it definitely made me think about that. How I'm like, yeah, it's like, it doesn't always happen that way. And this drama is doing a good job of taking things we're used to seeing and doing something a little bit different to it, so it doesn't totally feel like we've seen this story over and over and over again. So it's kind of like reversing it and giving her more depth by making her have to overcome these things later in her life.
Exactly. We don't, like you said, in most cases, we see the character after they've already dealt with their grief about losing a parent, but it feels very much like Hye-jin is still in the process of dealing with her grief and coming to the other side of it. So I think that's giving us a really interesting sort of like aspect of her character, an aspect of the story, and a way of her and I think the people around her of interacting. It colors things a little differently than we're used to seeing.
Yeah, it makes me think almost that because it happened when she was so young, that she kind of didn't let herself grieve, and then she buried it. And then now, just because she's in that place where it feels so close to home, that it's coming out now. And she's dealing with it now. So it kind of makes sense. And it also makes sense why her relationships are pretty strained. Because even her like friend that's her friend, it doesn't even seem like she knows everything for some reason or something. Like they feel very surface level to me still too, as well. So
yeah, or maybe just sort of like her friend is like knows that she's not at that point where she can be open and deal with those things that she knows that bother her. And it's sort of, it's so like we're meeting Hye-jin when she's like going through stuff. She hasn't got it all figured out yet, which makes her, like you said earlier, makes her feel a lot more human, right?
Yeah, definitely. And sorry if I seem like I'm hating on the friend character. I don't know why I'm not really fond of her. I do not care for her storyline. And they're trying to play up her little thing with the cop this episode. And I'm kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you too.
Yeah, I don't know. I could take or leave her contribution to the drama. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, but I just
So I'm hoping that because like one of the best things about dramas is the friend characters. The friend characters can bring. Yeah, exactly.
Don't relate to her or like I don't know. She's to me, I guess what made me not like her in the beginning is she brings out the negative side of Hye-jin more than she does the positive side. So then I just like I don't know. She just doesn't.
I'm hoping that the friend can have something about her that redeems her a little later on. But right now I'm sort of with you. Like she's not adding a whole lot.
Yeah.
Right now.
Like I can see where they're going there, but I don't know. Maybe it's just not enough. Anyway, that is a side note. I just
exactly little bit of a digression.
So anyway, so then they're at like their little impasse, and then of course like Dushik is like doing like bless this man. He like tries to do everything to make it right, and like tries to think of the right ways to go about it too that makes everybody happy and whatever. So he's talking to everyone, he is getting together money so he could pay for it. Like he talks to the son and tries to get the son to call the grandma and do something for her. Like,
and all he gets is a bowl of water in the face from grandma for it.
Hey, grandma.
Grandma has her pride. She doesn't want some whippersnapper trying to do things for her. But I think it also gave some great, because Dushik shared Hye-jin's words about good parents with grandma. And I think that put a little bit of a worm in her brain about, because when she did finally talk to her son over the phone, she was like, here I am. I've worked all my life to do everything for my family. And I've like got all this money saved aside for inheritance or whatever. And my son who I love and cherish doesn't seem to have much time for me. And he's like like son came across like, I'm sorry, he came off as a bit of a dick in my personal opinion.
What a horrible son. Both of us said that Richard was like so bad. He was like, what a jerk. Yeah, we agreed because he was like, can't you just get the dentures? It'll be fine and whatever.
Yeah, money's tight right now. We can't help you.
Well, and then like, didn't she, when she went to go away to see him, she didn't even get to really go see them, or something happened where it didn't turn out the way she thought it would.
Yeah. He was too busy and they couldn't go out for dinner together. So so Grandma Gumry's son is not winning any points.
Thank goodness for Dushik.
Thank goodness for Dushik. Surrogate son, surrogate grandson, whatever. He's got 4 stars. He's doing amazing. Everybody needs son like him.
So then at the end of the day, Heejin decides to come visit her and they have a cute little moment, right?
I loved this scene. It was so sweet. And Grandma's playing like the video of her on that TV show.
Goodness. And then a young Dushik in it too.
I know. Oh, that's 2 years ago. Yeah. He's such a sweet boy.
Love it. They're like totally pumping him up all the time too.
I know, exactly.
But yeah, their scene was really cute. Like I finally had a heart to heart, and like these are the moments I like with Heejin, because you get to see her and her real, like her heart, and the stuff you get to see with the kids, right? They had a little this episode, she's still taking care of the hedgehog or something. I totally forgot about that. And then they had this thing present. So it's like she still has like these little moments, and the moment with the grandma was like, finally, because it felt like she had a lot of troubles with the grandmas for a long time there.
Yeah, but I just love the interaction between Heijin and grandma, and like they were able to like come to an understanding together, and a bit of like see each other like same level. Yes. So I think, and in the long run, it did wonders, because grandma decided, you know what, I'm not going to save my money. I'm going to get my teeth fixed, and I'm going to have my squid again.
That's right. Well, and then it's so funny because she didn't even tell Dushik until
I know.
He was like having pains, I guess, from after getting whatever done. And it's a shock to him, of course. But it's so cute how happy he is, and adorableness as usual, right?
I know, just like fuzzy moments. Like the show is like full of great like conflict and great fuzzy warm. Yeah, totally.
Like it's definitely, I think if you're having a day and you want to like, I don't know, watch something that's uncomplicated, that's just easy, and you could just curl up and then you'll like end with a smile on your face, easy peasy. Right?
Yeah, and it's deceptively uncomplicated because this guy got layers.
It does. Like if you wanted to go deep into it, you could. But you don't necessarily have to. You can just enjoy the interactions and the simple, like, I don't know. It's like how they introed it, where it's like, welcome to, it's like, showing off how beautiful this little town is again. And you're like, oh, yeah.
Totally. Exactly. And then, like, feeling good, this episode leaves us in such a fun spot.
Yes.
So Heijin has a bit of a power outage. So she phones her landlady, and of course, who's the handyman that gets sent over?
I would never guess in a million years.
I know, never who. Like, I wonder who.
Of course it's Dushik.
Of course it's Dushik, but they have this like really cute moment. And like, okay, so he's like, you don't have candles? And she's like, well, we don't have power outages in Seoul. And he's like, so he pulls a candle out of his bag, and she's like, of course you have that in your bag.
Need them, right? Like,
I know that.
He's making candles.
Our dude makes candles. He does everything, including candle making.
Now you say that, the coincidence of him having the candle in the thing, this didn't really happen. But like, did he cut her power?
That's if we were going like super cheesy melodrama.
I don't know. No, that didn't happen. But it's just kind of funny how they set it up that way. Because I didn't even think about him pulling out the candle. I do remember him making a candle, though. It's like, of course he makes candles too.
Of course he makes candles too, because he's just that perfect.
Gosh. So yeah, they have that cute moment with the little lights, and then she like mentions she has treats in the freezer or whatever. And
Don't want them to melt.
gonna go get them and whatever. And they have a cute little like moment eating their ice cream and talking and whatever. Yeah, and then I guess that's where he leaves, right? And he doesn't say
Yeah. Well, because like they called the power company and sort of like waiting for them to come and fix the. But he sends her a text when he leaves and he's like, look at the fuse box, because the fuse box is in the shoe closet.
Yes, he showed her where.
Yeah, so she opens it up and there is like her fancy dancy sparkly heels that she's been missing number 2 for.
That's right, because he found it fishing.
He found it fishing and he like Googled how to like dry shoes.
So cute. I loved it. Wow.
He's like doing all these like amazing things for her, and like it's obviously that he digs on her, but he like hasn't quite really fully admitted that to himself yet. But he gets her shoe and she's just so excited that she has to run out and like yell at him thank you.
Uh-huh.
And I love this. Okay, so this is like a bit of a thing that's sort of like clued in when we got to this scene, but back at the wedding, her college friends said, oh, do you remember like your nickname in college was Cinderella?
Another thing I didn't catch, Lisa.
Yeah.
You're too good at these.
That's what I'm here for. So like her nickname in college was Cinderella. She gets her magic slippers back, puts them on, and the lights come back on.
I know, I did think it was kind of cheesy. The lights came back off. Like, of course they did.
I just thought it was so cute and funny, and I love that little bit. Like she's like the magic slippers, and she's Cinderella, and he's like the prince that found her shoe.
Definitely gives off Prince Charming vibes. I will say that much.
Yes, he's definitely a Prince Charming.
When he put the shoe in the closet. Okay, so I was trying to wrap my head around this. Am I wrong or I missed something? They made it seem like when she got up to go get the treats, he ran to the closet. But how does that happen?
I know, like
how did she not notice that?
I know, exactly. I was just like, I don't know. I think we would need a little more time for that. But in our wonderful, like, I love how this show at the end does these little like flashback change of point of view to certain points in the episode, and like this is how this actually happened.
Yeah, so they showed it. That's why I was like, what? No way.
But he is stealthy like a ninja.
He's super
and he's super fast.
I don't know, that whole part that made me laugh after. I was like, that can't be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just say that.
Yeah, so this is where we end episode 3, our Cinderella and our Prince Charming and the magic slippers, and little bits of warm fuzzies are brewing and the feels are be catching, and we're at a really nice spot. I think I had to hold myself back. I'm like, no, I can't go on to the next episode yet.
That's a good sign, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good sign when you have that feeling.
Yeah, so I think when we've mentioned before that we want to go to like at least 3 episodes before we decide if we're going to keep it on our playlist or move on to the next show. And I think this is a great opportunity to take a little bit of a vote. And what do you think? How are you feeling?
Well, I feel like we just both spoke our minds 2 seconds ago. So I feel like if we had to stop right now, my husband would be upset with me. That's how invested we are enough in this show. And I will say, safe to say, so far, this has been a drama that I've enjoyed the most this year. I've watched, or TV shows.
Yes, and I'm right there with you. It's definitely near the top for me too, and it's sort of like getting even better as we go along. So I'm looking forward to what's next.
Okay, so now that we've confirmed, we're going for it.
We're going for this.
Yes. So I wanted to talk about what we're thinking about for what's coming next. So I know we're excited about like the vibes that they're feeling. And clearly that part is good, but there hasn't been, besides the looming, she's got kind of issues, and then we think he kind of has issues. I was like, we don't have a second male lead yet. I'm like, when is this?
I know.
There's no signs of any whatsoever.
I know, when is this? This is pretty late in the game,
yes.
I think. So I'm excited to see what happens in episode 4 if we get to see our competition like show up.
There's supposed to be one. I feel like I've been kind of spoiled on that somehow. But there
Yeah.
I just don't know who he is or what he's gonna like. I don't know.
I know, exactly. So
maybe it will be someone from her past.
I know, that would be fun because like the whole thing about her friends like snapping pictures at the wedding. So maybe he's an old classmate that comes to visit or something. I don't know, but I think that could be a possibility.
I'm like hung up on the old classmate thing from the last Nevertheless that we saw.
So, I know exactly.
I do shake off. No, no, this isn't gonna happen. I will put this on record. I'm not getting second male lead syndrome this time. He is too perfect, and I am waiting for him to be the male lead. So no, I'm not gonna give in to whatever's gonna come our way. I swear to God.
Yeah, this is going to be fun because usually I'm like hardcore leads are number one, and Steph is very much second lead. Team second lead.
Sucked in. I don't know. It depends on who they are, but a lot of times I get sucked in. So
yeah. So it's going to be fun to see if Steph can stick to her guns and like stay true to Dushik.
That's too good. Come on, the way that they've been laying him up this whole time. He's like, I don't know if he has any flaws. I'm like, it's okay because he's too perfect right now.
Exactly. We can forgive anything at the moment.
He'd have to be really dumb, really, which they do dumb things though. So
yeah.
Myself, I feel like it's like one of those. He's good now, and then once things get better, and then they start getting close, he's gonna do something stupid. I don't know what it is.
I know. Yeah. But I'm sure it'll be something that he can get forgiveness for because he's Dushik.
Yeah, he is a very admirable man. Not a lot of them have that much you could admire them for in the beginning, right? Like a lot of them are, like I said, it's like the opposite where they are the jerk or whatever, and you find out the redeeming qualities later. But now it's like we know he's super good guy, so he can't. It's like how much better can he get? He just can get the things that aren't good about him to come.
So, like, how can we improve on perfection? That is the goal of finding out in future episodes. Can we improve?
And my husband, honey, I love you too. You are the real Dushik in my heart. I say he's perfect, but you are perfect for me.
Exactly. It's just you just gotta look. You gotta look over at your husband and just go, Dushiks are really awesome.
I'm terrible. I look over and I'm like, hey, if you could grow your hair out on the side, you look just as cute as this hairstyle. I'm terrible. I really am. But he knows I love him to bits, so it's okay. He
exactly.
has a crush, I think, on Dushik, so it's all good. Thank you for joining us to go through episode 3. I think we're really enjoying this one, right? So it's been flowing pretty easy for us. This has been something I hope that continues to pick up for you guys. Like it was our most viewed video we've ever had when we started this series, and the most interaction we've had. So it's a good sign. So we're very excited to continue to do this series. And so hopefully you can continue to follow along as we go through the episodes and give us a like and a comment and tell us how you felt about it.
Exactly, because if we know you like it, then we'll just enjoy it that much more.
Totally. I mean, we are enjoying ourselves regardless. I think this little project is just fun for us, period. But it has been really exciting for us to see the views and the interaction come through, because it feels like, I don't know, feels like we're doing something right for once.
Exactly. We're building our own little drama club.
Yes, exactly. And that's the point. It kind of, I want it to feel like a book club where we're actually hearing from other people and not just ourselves. So it would be great to hear what you think about it.
Exactly. Give us your predictions, your theories for the show, and we can't wait to hear from you.
All right. Well, I think that's all from us today. The next time you see us, we'll be talking about Lovers in the Red Sky. And so I guess until next time, bye.
Bye.